The sun had just started to rise over the peaceful plains of a small, rural town in Iowa. The village wasn't large, just a few dozen families living simple lives, surrounded by farmland and forest. Among them was an old man named Mr. Henry Carter, who lived with his wife Martha and owned 5 buffaloes, 2 cows, and a loyal German shepherd named Max. Max wasn't just any dog, he was family. Bought as a pup, raised among the cattle, and trained to guard the livestock. Max had developed a deep bond with the animals. Each morning at the crack of dawn, Mr. Carter would unlatch the wooden pen, releasing the animals to graze freely across the wide pastures near the riverbank. Max would leap from the porch, tail wagging, ready for his daily duty to protect the herd. Everyone in the village knew of Max's dedication. He had once fought off a wild coyote trying to steal a calf, and had chased away thieves attempting to rustle a buffalo in the dead of night. But it wasn't just bravery that defined Max, it was loyalty, silent and unwavering. One early autumn morning, as golden leaves rustled and the air held a crisp chill, Mr. Carter went through his usual routine. He opened the gate, let the animals out, and patted Max on the head. "Watch them, boy," he said, as he always did. Max barked softly and trotted after the herd as they wandered toward the river. The day passed and evening came. The sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the fields. Mr. Carter stood by the gate waiting. But unlike every other day, no animals returned, either buffaloes nor cows nor Max. At first he thought they might be late, maybe still grazing. But hours passed. Darkness crept in. Martha lit the porch light. Henry whistled, called out, but the fields remained silent. Worry gnawed at him. He took a lantern and walked the fields. Nothing. No hoofprints, no barking, just wind brushing through the tall grass. He returned home at midnight, heavy with dread. The next morning they searched. Mr. Carter called on a few neighbors. They combed the pastures, the roads, even drove out to the nearby forest edges. Flyers were printed, social media posts were made, but no sign came. 3 days passed, then a 4th. Each day Henry aged a little more. The silence around the house felt hollow without the grunt of buffaloes or the gentle mooing of his cows. But worst of all was the absence of Max, his companion, his protector, his friend. On the 5th day, a boy from the neighboring village rode over on his bike, panting hard. "Sir, I think I saw one of your cows down by the river, near the footbridge on the east side, and I think your dog's with her." Without a word, Henry jumped into his old pickup truck and raced down the winding dirt road, the tires kicking up clouds of dust. As he reached the narrow path near the riverbank, his eyes scanned the land frantically. Then just beyond the tall weeds, he saw a familiar shape, his cow, Lucy, and near her, lying still, was Max. He rushed over. Lucy looked unharmed but disoriented. But Max, his once strong, vibrant dog, was barely breathing. His fur was matted with mud and his ribs stuck out. His eyes opened slowly when he heard Henry's voice. Tears welled up in the old man's eyes. He knelt beside Max. "Oh, buddy, what happened to you?" Max whimpered faintly and tried to stand, but his legs gave out. Henry pulled out his water bottle, offering a few drops. Max licked them weakly. He then gently lifted the dog in his arms. He turned to Lucy, speaking softly. "Come on, girl. Let's go home." Driving back, Henry noticed something strange. Max kept turning his head, glancing back toward the river. Something was urging him, even in his weakest state. It was as if he was saying, "We're not done." Back home, they called the vet, who gave Max fluids, food, and rest. The vet said, "He's been starving. Looks like he refused to eat. If someone hadn't found him, he wouldn't have made it another day." That night, Henry sat beside Max, stroking his fur. "You found Lucy, you stayed with her. You didn't come home because you didn't want to leave her alone, even if it killed you." Max licked his hand and dozed off. The next morning, something remarkable happened. Another neighbor called. "Henry, you won't believe it. I just saw your buffaloes, 5 of them, grazing near the east end of the marsh. I swear they're yours." Without delay, Henry returned to the river area with Max beside him in the truck bed, still weak but alert. When they reached the area, Max leaped down, staggered a little, but then barked once, twice, then ran forward. The buffaloes, startled at first, turned and responded. Max led Henry through a shallow river path, through reeds and mud, until they reached a hidden clearing where the entire herd was resting. The animals were dirty, thinner, and scattered, but alive. It was as if Max knew all along. He had led Henry to Lucy first, stayed behind to ensure she wasn't left behind, and now he brought them to the rest. What Max had done defied logic. He had tracked the herd, guarded them, protected one after another, even as hunger consumed him. While he was starving, he had not left his post. He had watched over the animals, kept them from wandering further, and waited faithfully, patiently. Word spread fast in the village. Farmers, vets, even local news reporters came to see Max, the hero dog. Some brought him food, others offered donations, and children came with hand-drawn pictures of him. But Max didn't care for attention. After recovering, he returned to his old self, quiet, alert, and ever loyal. Each morning when Henry opened the gate, Max was ready. Nothing changed except now. When Henry looked at Max, his heart filled with pride and humility, because sometimes loyalty isn't loud. It doesn't need words or medals. It's found in the tired eyes of a dog who chose hunger over abandoning his duty, who watched over his family four-legged or two without needing anything in return. Years passed. Max grew older, slower, but never less devoted. And when his time came, when he finally lay down one last time under the old oak tree near the barn, Henry sat beside him, holding his paw, whispering, "You were the best I ever had. Max, you brought them all home." And in the heart of that quiet village, there lived a memory, not just of a dog, but of a bond so pure, so selfless, that it reminded everyone what true loyalty looked like. Max may have been just a dog, but to the Carter family and to everyone who heard his story, he was a guardian, a hero, and a reminder that love, real love, is proven not in comfort but in sacrifice.